So that is exactly why I think we should kill off Superman and just have Batman be the leader of the DCU.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Why not?
because Batman didn't do enough damage to Superman's character by having Superman go dark and gritty, right?
Yeah, there you go.
That's how it went in the origin of the Snyderverse, right? They said, let's make every character dark and gritty like Batman. That was Zack Snyder's whole plan. Screw the hope or the sunshine.
Now let me make sure our very attentive subscribers know that we are live today. So,
Our final live session of the year.
You called it Aquamarine 2? Jesus.
What? I said Aquaman.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
It says Aquamarine. I'll fix.
Oh, damn. Let me see if I can fix that. It was autocorrect, all right? Autocorrect. Oh, I might as well say this for New Year's is around the corner, and my family's going to have a big seafood themed New Year's feast.
Okay.
And so you got anything
for New Year's?
Austin?
I think we lost him. You might have to kick him out.
Gotcha. Hey, our first year Phanatic. Okay.
Yeah. Pretty good year. We learned some things. We did learn some things. So,
Gotcha. So you want to get started?
I posted it. Did you fix the name?
Yeah, I fixed the name.
Okay, let me refresh it, see what it says. Okay, let me do one more little edit to it. So you got any plans for New Year? What's your New Year's resolution?
Just going to next level my Kung Fu training, setting goals for myself.
I was thinking about getting back into martial arts again, actually.
You need it to release some pent-up frustrations of the weak man. Believe me, it helps.
Let's see.
Got you.
My Wi-Fi is being very slow right now.
Of course. What's a live stream about some technical issues,
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I guess it's just gonna be us. I guess it's just gonna be us. It's just gonna be us two, right, Jake?
Yep.
Okay. Alrighty.
Yeah, it's gonna be us too. But you know what? I want to do some I want to do some corny anime. The words.
Gotcha. You're the Bucky. You're the Bucky to my Steve Rogers.
There we go. There we go. God bless America. Well, guys, welcome back to Phanatic Night. Only this time, this is a special series, Phanatic Reviews. Today, we're going to be reviewing Aquaman 2. So, as usual, I am Jake Tylenol, the one who sleeps in the seas, and I'm followed with my friend here.
Me, Cryptid Seeker 415, who's in the mood for some land shrimps.
As I already stated, we're going to review Aquaman 2. We will start off spoiler-free. And, spoilers are bound to happen because, to be honest, I don't really care about spoilers, but I know people do, so we'll have a spoiler-free section. So,
hey, spoiler alert, the guys fight the bad guys and win, right? That's a spoiler, right? Yeah.
I guess that's a good point.
Yeah.
Like,
Or
what if they were to
will people be satisfied if by the end, oh no, the DC universe gets destroyed, the bad guys win, the whole world cracks.
yeah, because like that Justice League Apocalypse War, that one.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we stalled long enough. So, what are our initial impressions of the film? Cryptid, how about you?
I just thought it was a passable film, but keep in mind, I don't have a foundation with Aquaman. I mean, for God's sakes, I didn't even watch Aquaman 1. And even watching this film, I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know what you had to do in an Aquaman film to get me excited. That's just my standpoint.
I'm actually impressed you didn't have fun with this one. I okay, so listen. So I have a whole new review metric, right? And based off
Yeah.
that review metric, this movie scored a 4 out of 10. Okay.
Wow.
But I actually enjoyed my time with it. So, you know? Um, and I guess we can get into that a little later. Get a little later. For those of you who don't know, Aquaman 2 is going to be the last movie in the DC cinematic universe. The
Hmm.
extended, I'm sorry, the DC extended universe. Um, this is Zack Snyder's swan song, okay? And this is his legacy. This is what he left
Yep.
behind.
Yeah,
Um,
the universe that decided to cast Jason Momoa as Aquaman instead of Lobo, but hey, there's no cracks in the Snyderverse audience, right?
yeah.
It was all perfect casting, this and that.
Yeah. So, with this movie here, I think right off the bat, um, what I remember not liking it, because I haven't seen this movie in like a week, so my details might be a little bit fuzzy. I should have rewatched it, but hey, I don't have a lot of money like that. I'm not going to theaters all the time. Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I
I
think right
spent.
off the bat, I didn't like how this movie opened. It just seemed kind of too quick. Like it was trying to just rush to the point. I remember this Aquaman
Mhm.
shows up and then it's like, oh, he's here. It's Aquaman, and then it turns into like a joke about like, and then it turns to a joke about Aquaman telling the story to somebody else. And I was
Mhm.
like, this is kind of taking me out of that moment, really. you know, um, I will say this though. I think Aquaman's a bit too irresponsible as a character to be like a king. I get that's the point of his
Thank
character.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, he's too irresponsible. But
Mhm.
I will say the movie gets a lot of fun when we drop the royal nonsense and just have
Yeah.
uh, a story about the two brothers that are
Yeah.
Aquaman and women. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what this movie's about. It's essentially a
Mm.
buddy film with Aquaman and his brother Orm in the first movie, who was Ocean
Mhm.
Master.
Yeah.
Uh,
It,
yeah.
there's some life breathed into this film when you get away from the ocean politics. And yeah, even Aquaman refers to that as ocean politics. You know, like.
Yeah. This movie has a lot of commentary about climate change and all this stuff. And to be honest, it's just a bunch of like whatever. it's like it's like whenever the old Godzilla movie used to be like, we have to protect the environment, and then have Godzilla destroy it all anyway. Like, yeah, that's kind of what it felt like. I was
Mhm.
like, it was kind of like the first Black Panther, but like cookie cutter. Like if all the political messaging wasn't as strong, that's kind of what it reminded me of. So,
Yeah. I mean, hey,
yeah,
it's a sea, right? What's a sea without delving into, climate crises? You know.
yeah. How did you feel about
I remember our buddy Philly would say like, in Marvel with Namor, right? Part of the reason why he's always pissed so many times is because hey, humans dump all their trash in his kingdom. You know, at the end of the
which
day.
I do like how that movie brought up as a point where like the Atlanteans like, hey, if they keep dumping our trash in here, we're gonna kill everyone. Okay, stop doing that.
Yep.
Um,
Mhm.
what did you? How did you feel about the water effects in this movie?
The water effects, they were glowy. They were watery. You got to see the hair movement. Again, I can't judge how good they were compared to the first film because I didn't watch the first film, but at least I heard people like the effects in the first film. How did you compare this with the two movies?
I don't remember the first movie that well because I should also mention this. I did not like it. Everyone loved it at the time.
Nobody was expecting the first movie to make as much money as it did. Jake, you there? Hold on, audience. Just running into some technical issues right now. Bear with us, audience. Okay. Jake, you there?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Okay. Okay, now I can hear you clearly. Yep.
I'm so sorry about that, cryptid and audience. My computer overheated, and so I got cut out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, what exactly? Oh, the water
The
effects.
effects, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, the water effects in this film. I don't remember the first movie that well because I just didn't like it. I know everyone else liked it at the time. I thought it
Yeah.
was very cookie cutter, vanilla, and
Mhm.
it was like whatever. And the
Do you-
final fight in that film was terrible.
Jake, do you think that movie deserved to have made as much money as it did?
No, actually,
Yeah.
really. I just thought it was like I didn't think Aquaman could be entertaining, and that's kind of where it was.
Mhm.
But I enjoyed this movie more than the first movie, I will say.
I guess
So
part of that's due is like they just had fun with this, you know?
yeah, this movie is never trying to take itself too seriously, which is great until until the final act, if you ask me. but
Yeah.
but it's supposed. It just wants you to have a fun time with Aquaman. These characters. A lot of deep cuts too to the comics as well. In the trailers, we got to see the blue suit for Aquaman, which was his stealth suit,
Yeah.
which is a thing from the comics. He only used it for like what was it, like a couple issues, and then he got rid of it because it was too hard to draw.
Mhm.
But we got to see it here, and it used its stealth function in a really cool like breakout scene, like a prison break scene and everything. And I thought that
Mhm.
was pretty fun. I do oh, but in terms of, like how I felt about the water physics, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get back into where we were because my computer cut
Yeah.
out.
It's
Um,
okay.
yeah. So, as far as the water effects goes, like I'll say this, it's like not James Cameron Avatar water effects. And if you see that movie, the water effects are great in that film. And I would say this movie is not on that level,
Mhm.
but it's okay. I thought it was like
Yeah.
it's whatever. So
Yeah, we also have to keep in mind, like when it came to James Cameron's sequel to Avatar, they took their time with that. It was years before we got a sequel, but when it came to Aquaman, we also have to keep in mind so many rewrites had to have happened, so many adjustments to the stories, scenes had to have gotten cut out or redone entirely
mhm.
based on factors that were just out of the director's control. You know, wink,
Mhm.
wink, redhead. You know.
Yeah. Speaking of Mara, well, I don't think it's like in most situations it's okay to just boycott someone's entire work because of an actor. Uh, she's not in the film that much, so like,
Yeah.
don't like
I
don't
mean,
don't
like,
be upset.
to the point where, like, wouldn't it have been just simpler just to write her out entirely at that point?
I would say it's almost at like the detriment of the film because every time she should be there, I'm like, this is all
I,
she has to say about the situation.
I mean, I think the only reason they even gave Aquaman a child was to have the child be the motivation for Aquaman instead of Mira. You know?
Yeah, like we'll get into it later if I remember in the spoiler free section, but it was like
Mm.
there was like a moment where she's like where something very like tragic happens and Maris only comes in just to say no and then she just disappears. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Could you give me 1 second? I have to swap devices.
Sure,
Hopefully.
go
Yeah.
for it. Do-do-do-do.
Okay. Can
Okay.
everyone hear me? Am I back?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Hello?
Jake, you there? Do-do-do. Bear with us,
I don't know
audience.
if I
Just
can be
technical
heard right now.
end of the year technical
If you guys can
issues.
hear me, sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm trying to
Mm,
do something. Hello?
do do.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna switch back to my phone. I'm so sorry about this, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second.
Do.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Okay, Jake. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
Okay, and I can hear
before.
you. That's the most important part.
Yeah, before, like I could just hear you, but you weren't able to hear us.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. I'm so sorry, guys.
It's okay. Yeah, of all the movies to have a technical issue, it had to be the one associated with water. You know,
Yeah, there you go.
almost like something's telling us that these two do not mix. Mhm. Okay, but continue on, Jake. Oh no, did we lose Jake again?
No. Hello?
Oh, okay,
Okay.
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Sorry. Well, sorry. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, Mara, I honestly felt like she either you're right and she should have been written out the story and there was an easy point that could have done it. Or she should have been in the story more because the scenes she's in, I'm like, you should be doing a lot more in this scene, you know?
Hmm.
Um, so that's kind of my problem with that. And like, I guess I should say this too. Like, I know people get like hung up on like, the drama that happens today. But the thing is, like, this is a movie. So, like, years from now, when this drama with Amber Heard is long forgotten, this film's just gonna feel like, why is she like not in the movie that much? You know what I mean? Like, no one may not have that context. So I would rather her be in the
Hmm.
film as much as she needs to be,
Yeah,
uh, than just Spider. But that's what it is.
yeah, yeah. But you gotta
Uh,
remember, this is the honeypot moment to make money off this film, as opposed to like 10, 20 years from now, who's gonna make money off it, you know?
yeah, but to be fair, they didn't
Mhm.
make money anyway. So,
Oh, true that, true that.
um, so how did
Okay.
you feel about Ocean Master?
I felt very conflicted because I can only piece together him as the Loki of this series. To be honest, I kind of felt sorry for this guy. Like, I only imagine like he was trying to invade, like all the surface dwellers in the same manner that Loki was trying to. When hey, we got to rule Midgard. But did he deserve that brutal punishment? Like the prison he was in, the humiliation he was going through, the starvation he was going through. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, so without going too much into spoilers, so for those who watched the first film or didn't watch it, just to recap, refresh your memory from my memory, Orm was the villain of that movie. He's Aquaman's half brother. Um, so Aquaman was born, and Orm was kind of groomed by like his father to think that like, oh, Aquaman's gonna come, Arthur's gonna come in, he's gonna take the throne from you, and all this other stuff. Um, and that kind of sets him spiraling down this path where like I got to prepare for my brother's return because it's about to be the darkest of days, and also the surface world keeps messing with us, so we have to stop them now. And so Aquaman goes on this quest to overthrow his brother. There we are. um,
Mhm.
and it's even stated in that movie that Aquaman kind of always wanted to like meet more of his family, um, but he just was disappointed that Orm was what he got essentially.
Aw.
So this movie kind of picks up on that drama, that plot thread as well. Like give it like with Aquaman and Orm having to work together to face off against this new threat. Can these two find common ground? And I think the journey for that is the strongest point in the movie for me.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing Orm slowly come to understand who Arthur is as a person is actually kind of really endearing to watch.
Yeah.
There's even a really fun scene in the where Aquaman tries to teach Orm about food. Less said about that, the better. But it's a really funny scene. But yeah, and I really think that the actor for Orm,
Like,
who's like, do you know the actor's name?
I don't know the actor's name, unfortunately.
Okay, but well,
Yeah.
for Orm's actor, I think he does a really good job at playing this character and making him feel like like human, like really
Mm-hmm.
like I'm really endeared to him. I also want to bring up that someone, I forgot who in a review, I think pointed out that like Orm looks more like Aquaman than than Aquaman does.
I remember when we had that topic discussion in Fanatic Live, I actually brought that up too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think he and Aquaman bring like the strongest parts of the movie, and it's good too because they're most of the second act is just those two together,
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Norm needs a reason to want to protect his family. I mean, especially after everything he's been going through since the first film.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I also like how like Orm from his perspective was completely justified. Like all he cares about is Atlantis. He doesn't care about the service world. He doesn't have any connection to them, and like he just kind of lived thinking, oh, they're just like
Yeah.
animals up there. So
I mean, yeah, he wanted to be more offensive when it comes to dealing with the surface dwellers, but you know, these can't be the only two options. Between
cryptid.
yeah, can you
Oh
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now. This
Okay,
technical
sorry, I
difficulty is
accidentally
the
hit.
episode.
No, I accidentally hit the mute button on my end.
Oh, okay.
But as I was trying to say before, like these could not be the only two options of who could rule over Atlantis. The one king who wants to be more hard hitting with the surface dwellers, or the other king who really just wants to drink beer, go out party, not be king or anything like that. He just wants to punch people. That's it. You
Yeah,
know?
maybe if they rule together, but it's too late now because Orm's a
Yeah.
nightmare. But
Yeah.
you know, but I did like that the movie. Another thing I liked about this movie was it's a bunch of throwaway nonsense. Like I couldn't recite exactly all the lore in this movie, but I like that they had like a bunch of cool like mythological lore to Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really cool. I thought all the imagery they used, like the legends they would tell and all that stuff was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how'd you feel about it?
I thought it was great. Some of they had fun with some of the citizens of Atlantis, specifically the lobster person.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
crazy? I actually did not like him.
Oh no! Now you know how I feel when it comes to Korg in Thor. You
Oh,
know.
oh, trust me. When we review What If, you will know my full thoughts on Core.
Oh God! All right, all right.
um,
Um, but yeah, as far as I'm concerned, like the only other supporting cast members from Atlantis that I still remember fondly were just the lobster and the octopus. Which,
yeah.
oh god, dang, now that I think about it, those two are basically the Korg and Meek of this movie. Oh
Oh,
wow.
so you just like Korg, but it's not a character you know.
Hey, I just don't like Taika. All right, at this point. But
For all you know, the Lobster Man, like Korg, could have been a badass in the comics or something, and you just didn't know.
It's not like they already gave us a dose of the lobster in a live action, properly portrayed animated movie, right, Jake?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Hmm.
But but yeah, I thought all that was cool. I guess we have two characters left to talk about as well. Because the only two else that matter. Black Manta, how'd you feel about him?
he was a villain. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what more depth you want to go in. I know his father got killed in the last movie, and he's on a quest for revenge. And I don't think his character really evolves after that. You know?
Yeah. I actually, for some reason, I couldn't tell you why. I think he was a step down from the last film. I think.
Okay. He just became a mustache twirling villain by this film.
Yeah. I mean, he was kind of like one-minded in the first movie, but I don't know if it was like the actor. I remember liking him a lot more the first movie than this movie.
I think it was because you got to see that moment between him and his father, which it's one of the reasons why in Young Justice, right? I- Out of all the portrayals of Black Manta I've seen over the years, I would say that version is the one I like. Like, I could get why he hates Aquaman. He's like, hey, I don't like kings who look down on people, and Aquaman is getting in between me and my son, this and that, you know?
Yeah.
But here, he just wants to destroy. He's a villain. Just wanting to destroy Aquaman at this point.
It
You know?
doesn't matter what it takes. He will just burn down Aquaman and everything he loves.
Yeah.
Uh, I think, yeah. Did you know another character I actually did kind of like his sidekick character, who's unfortunately his name kind of escapes me. I can't remember it, but and I'll probably look it up and go
What
back.
you mean the actor who plays Jimmy Woo in the MCU?
Yes.
Oh, okay. He was okay.
Yeah, I liked his character. I mean, it wasn't like anything special. It was just like for what they gave him, he did it pretty well. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought like his because he comes in, he just wants to see Atlantis, and then he's a bit conflicted about like um, how things should what if what he's doing is right. Um, but yeah, I thought he was like a compelling character. Um, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so, I'm trying to look up his name. Oh, Dr. Steven Shin, that's his name.
Okay.
Yeah, so I thought he was pretty good. Um, but yeah, like I said, I just it's not really a good movie, but I had a lot of fun. I think the two leads really did carry the film. And the final fight is I guess it's the last thing we can get into. How did you feel about the final act of this film?
Just what you would expect in a superhero film at this point. Big epic fight at the end. That's it.
Uh, I wish it was epic. For me, it was kind of like the fight, like because there's also another villain in this film, and the way they handle it is kind of like, oh, that's it. That's all you have to do.
He's basically the villain from what's called a Black Adam. You don't even remember his name. He has a final boss design,
Right.
but there's nothing else to that character. You know?
Well, that villain killed a character too, if I remember correctly. So like, but this guy, he's like, he just gets up and then he dies. It's like that's pretty much.
It reminds me a lot of that one of those final bosses. I think it was the Skeleton King from Diablo 3. You
Yeah,
know? Yeah, that's what he
yeah.
reminds me of.
He looks cool enough. I mean, he doesn't look like a super villain, but he looks like cool. He looks like some Dark Souls stuff. Um,
Hmm.
I think Aquaman has had this problem before. Like, if you said you haven't watched the first one, right?
No.
And the first one, there's like this whole big climactic fight in the sea, the warring tribes, all this fun and yada. And then like Aquaman has to go fight Orm for like the second time. Like they fought before and Aquaman lost.
Okay.
Aquaman leaps on a boat, challenges Orm. They get into a fight, and I swear to you, Aquaman just wipes the floor with him. Like, um, and they bring up a point.
Wait.
They bring that up in the movie where Aquaman tells Orm, like, "Oh yeah, last time I kicked your ass," and then Orm's like, "No, you did." Like, no, he absolutely did. It was absolutely, it was very bad.
Wait, did that? Okay, so question: did that fight make sense? Because as far as I'm aware, Aquaman was a fish out of water by the time he got to Atlantis, right?
So when he gets to Atlantis, first off, they're fighting underwater. That's the biggest problem. so,
Okay,
uh,
okay.
so they're fighting underwater, and Orm just kind of mops the floor with him there, and Aquaman can't really win. because
Oh,
Orm's just too skilled. But then,
I mean, that makes sense. It's like, he spent his whole life fighting in the water and training, I would assume,
yeah, and then Aquaman kind of gets a couple of stat boosts, like for when he learns how to. I think he already knows how to talk to fish, if I remember correctly. But he also gets a legendary trident, the one that he rules with, and he learns how to fight with the trident and like control the water with it and all that other stuff. So he pretty much like fights Orm on surface where she's not, which as this movie goes to show, he's not used to fighting on the surface.
hmm
And then he just kind of beats his ass for like 3 minutes. Pretty much that fight. I was like, oh, that's a
hmm
letdown. And it's kind of the same here. We get a bunch of cool little action scenes, and then when you get to the final boss, it's just like, oh, that was it. That's all we have to do. you know, um, you know, but
Yep.
it is what it- but yeah. So I got well. So also you were talking about this movie. I guess we introduced the baby. We've introduced Aqua Baby. I think that
Yep.
was hilarious. How did you feel about Aqua Baby? I mean, he didn't do much, but like, how did you feel about the idea?
It was obvious he was just there to give a stake for Aquaman's character, because they obviously couldn't put that on his wife, So
Well,
now
and this was okay.
here's a question for you, Jake.
Okay.
Do you think this film would have been better if they went with what they originally wanted to do with the baby?
But now that I've seen what the product was, they should have just killed Mara instead. I think they could have done that.
you think the answer to Mira was to refrigerate her? Wow.
Well, maybe not her, but there was another character too that absolutely should have died. I think that's my biggest problem with this movie.
Yeah.
There are so many fake out deaths in this film.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, because just for audience to clarify, like the original rumor was the fact that they wanted to kill Aquaman's baby, right? But because of fan receptions on, audience receptions and who got to see this film first, they were negative, so they decided to scrap that whole scene entirely.
yeah, for the baby scene, for the baby to dying to work in this film, you would need to have a darker tone, and this movie doesn't have it. So
hmm
I get people like because you could you imagine watching this comedy film and then in the final act, like Black Manta just stabs a baby. You're just like, oh my god. You'd be like, what?
hmm
So it'll kind of be too tragic. But that said, someone absolutely should have died in this film. Like someone would have like don't should have died in this film. So
hmm
um I will say this though, the action scenes are pretty fun, like with Aquaman. I think Jason Momoa is a pretty good like physical actor. Uh,
hmm
so seeing him like when he's fighting like giant robots or he's running through the forest with his brother, it all looks good.
Yeah, he has a body, man. He better use that body. You
Yeah,
know?
and I'd say even the final fight with him and Black Manta was pretty dope. It was pretty fast paced, pretty good shit. So
hmm
you know, but yeah, at the end of the day, is Aquaman 2 worth your time to see? It depends on where you live, because like if you live in my area, movie tickets are like $40. So don't, don't spend
Good
$40.
lord.
So,
You see, around my area, we have a thing called Discount Tuesdays. And guess what day I went to go see this film? On
yeah,
Tuesday. So, yeah, I only got to spend $10 to watch this film.
yeah. So what I do is like near my job, there's a theater, like there's an AMC that only charges me $9 for the ticket. I'm like, I
Yeah.
just go. So I went after work and I went to go watch the film.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like I said, it was a fun time. Like I was it was, but I will say this: uh, until Ocean Master and Aquaman start sharing screen time, it is kind of a like whatever. Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because there's but once those two get on screen and they start talking and interacting, like the movie picks up a lot. And so
Mhm.
uh, it's not perfect. Like I said, by my own metric, it's a 4 out of 10. But if you see this on TV or you got like $9 to spare at the theater, just go check it out. So
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that concludes our spoiler-free section. So
Okay.
yeah,
Now to the spoiler talk. Want to
yeah,
start us off, man?
yeah. I like I said before, I think Mara definitely should have had either more to do or not been in the film at all. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it seems weird that like her
But
husband
just,
goes on this whole big quest. She has like nothing to say about it. You know what I mean?
just pull a Sif from Thor and say that she's like on a secret undercover mission somewhere,
Yeah,
opposite side of the ocean.
or like I don't know, maybe she's taking care of the child at home, but then you'd have to have scenes with her taking care of the child. Uh,
I I
or
think the
like
only go ahead.
I was gonna say, or like have more scenes with her in the throne, because I kind of felt like the ending. So like, the ending of this film is Aquaman finally revealing Atlantis is real to like the rest of the world and all this shit. Uh, I felt like that was very abrupt, and I think maybe Mara could have been like the politician to convince the people of the sea, like, hey, we gotta reveal ourselves, because Aquaman wasn't doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta also think of it this way: who has a friendlier face and who has an intimidating face? Like
um,
Paul, yep.
oh no, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yep.
Um, what was your favorite part of the movie? Did you have one?
Let's see. I did like seeing the lobster guy lose his hand and comment on that. Like, hey, I don't blink. Like, give him a mechanical hand. Why don't you? Those are all the rages. I liked the the land shrimp that Aquaman tricked Ocean Master into eating. Mhm. You see, even these guys could poke fun at like the Aquaman side, the fish jokes, this and that,
Yeah.
which I feel it is a staple in Aquaman lore, mainly due to the Super Friends playing a part in that, and of
Yeah.
course Family Guy. You
I
know,
just wish, like, I'm fine with those jokes. I think the one that annoyed me was at the start of the movie when Aquaman's like, "Yeah, everyone makes fun of me because I talk to fish, but like, I don't care." I'm like,
You know,
I,
even in the comics, they don't shy away from that. Like I swear,
yeah,
when it came to like DC Rebirth, there came a point where Aquaman had to voluntarily, be arrested, right? And for the police officers, and when he was taken into jail, the officers were like saying, "Okay, Aquaman, we're going to accommodate this cell for you. Do you need water?" And Aquaman's like, "Yeah, when I'm thirsty." And they're like, and officers also, I'll be needing to have whale sounds around my jail cell every 3 hours, or else I'll die. Oh, okay, Mr. Aquaman, whatever you want. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And even the line I was making, line I hated. I know that's also from a comic too. Where Aquaman's like, "Yeah, I know. Like, people make fun of me because I like talk to fish, but I'm actually really okay." Like, I know. I know that's in the comics. It's just like I just like, could you get over it? Just like, But like you said, it's a part of Aquaman comics that
Mhm.
they fight back
Yeah,
against.
yeah. I mean, it's like it's not like on the level of like let's say Thor, where comedy wasn't really something glued into the DNA of Thor, but with Aquaman, you could get away with that.
Yeah, no one takes him seriously anyway. So like, that's why I think that's what I like about Jason Momoa. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Jason Momoa in like, Aquaman, the King is like very terrible. And as we alluded to before, like I like Aquaman as a king is like scary because he just has no interest in it, right? So like,
he even mentions like, yeah, I mean, even the stuff that I want to change or stuff that I want to apply to Atlantis, it gets turned down because of a council.
yeah, and I know they're trying to do this whole like, oh, we're the little guy, but I'm like, bro, you're like the king of like an entire like 75% of the world is your nation. Okay, like
Yeah,
you just like wave that
yeah.
away. You get
I
bored.
find I find it funny to say that if he thinks he's the little guy, when if you meet him in real life, you're the little guy compared to him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And so I know he wants to be the champion. The little guy, but like, bro, like you have a responsibility to 75% of the world. Like, take it seriously.
Yeah.
Uh, but because of that, I think that makes the second half of the movie work stronger. But he does go on the adventure. You see, he's having a lot of fun with it, and
Hmm.
and that's why I really love like the scene where like he has to go invisible and infiltrate the prison. Which by the way, he did get caught. Someone did see him when he was uncloaked. I don't know why the movie didn't acknowledge that.
He was allowed to be himself when he was finally away from the ocean politics. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that made Aquaman very cool, and I really felt like, and I know it couldn't have happened, but I felt like Orm, now that he has an understanding, like because he comes to an under. So in the movie, like him and Aquaman are together, and then like they have this moment where like Orm's like, "You tried to take my kingdom away," and Aquaman's like, "Bro, I wasn't trying to take your kingdom. You were gonna kill my home. Like I was, he was like." Oh, I was told my whole life that you were coming to destroy me. He's like, bro, I didn't even know you. He's like, uh, which is gotta suck, right? Because he still could have been king at this point.
Mhm.
So, I, part of me was hoping Orb could have been the king, so just to but
Yeah.
I understood based off how the movies were going, he could not be king.
Mm.
So,
I mean, that's why I say these could not have been the only two choices this kingdom had. Between one king who, you know, already set a bad example and is the villain in the eyes of the kingdom, or the other guy who really doesn't take his kingdom role seriously and frankly hates his job.
yeah. So,
Come
uh,
on.
I don't see Atlantis surviving this long
Yeah.
after. But hey, maybe Mara can pick up the slack. Maybe
Oh,
I thought, but I did like the prison break scene. That was all fun. Where like, and like I said, you were talking about Orb, where he was like this just decrepit shell of himself. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
yeah.
I get
Not just that, but like what the security guards there were doing to the guy. I mean,
right.
he's supposed to be the Loki of this universe, but even Loki for everything he did, like when he got sent to jail in Thor 2, like they just put him in the cell. They didn't beat him. They didn't humiliate him. Like,
Yeah,
with,
they gave him a
with
big cell, and he had stuff to read and eat, and
yeah. Here,
um,
Norm. Honestly, you have every reason. If you didn't have a reason to hate Aquaman in the first film, you definitely would have a reason to hate him in this film. You know?
yeah, and the worst part is Orb doesn't even want to break out either. He's like, well, I lost, and once I'm done with this, I'm going back to prison to serve my vengeance. I was like, Jesus, I'm sorry. Um, and then also to find out that his brother doesn't even want the throne is like so that must have been like so devastating for him. I felt so
I,
bad.
I know, right?
Uh, like Orb was really the standout character in this. Aquaman's
Mhm.
fun. He's the protagonist, and he does a good job once the adventuring starts. But he's really like the main character. Um,
Mhm.
I did well. I guess we go into other things. I like their whole jungle adventure together. They have this stupid line though. This line was actually really dumb. When they first introduced it, it was fine. When he was like, "A king builds bridges," and then he just like knocks over the statue. I got it. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then at the end, like Orm and Aquaman, and and Aquaman lets him go. By the way, this was something I hated. Orm made it clear that after he was done, because of his duty to Atlantis, he was gonna go back to prison. And then Aquaman's like, actually, we're gonna break the rules, and we're just gonna let you go like to the surface world, and you'll be exiled there. I'm like, and then Orm just takes it. I'm like, Orm, what happened to your character? You would never take this with everything.
I don't know. I don't
And
know. What it was is he got a taste for land shrimp. That's what it was. Like, you.
yeah, um, you got a taste for land shrimp, I guess, and then you just want to go eat a burger. Like,
Yeah, man, Nissan, like you want to eat, like let me see what this surface level cuisine is like, you know?
yeah, and so he does that, and then like he says something like he used that line again. He turns to Aquaman's like, uh, I'm not like I don't know if I can do this king stuff. He's like, trust yourself. He's like, oh, a king builds bridges, right? I'm like that
Mhm.
doesn't relevant to this conversation. The way you
Yeah.
it was like a dumb way to use the line. I just didn't like it.
Mhm.
Um, it felt corny. But
How dare you not expect any corniness from an Aquaman project?
Alyssa, I one not corny.
Mhm.
To my other problem in this movie, and it wasn't a problem at first, but this was like the movie starts taking a turn in the third act, right? Because like Black Manta. So for those who don't know, Black Manta, who gets sidelined again as the villain, by the way. So I don't know if you heard the reviews for the first movie, but everyone loved Black Manta and they wanted him to be the main
Wow.
villain. And people didn't like Orm in the first movie. They're like, Black Manta should have been the villain. Fuck Orm, right?
Mhm.
In this movie, he's still not the main villain.
Oh man.
So Black Manta gets the Dark Trident, and it's like, ooh, it's connected to the kings of the past, and they fought this great war, and but the one with the Dark Trident he lost, and he got sealed away forever. Now he needs Black Manta to start the climate change revolution, so he can
You
free
know,
the king.
this reminds me an awful lot like the crown from Black Adam, to be honest.
Yes, but to me this is cooler because I don't like Black Adam. Um, so like, so basically, Black Manta to open the seal of the king, he needs the blood of the first king of Atlantis. And well, lo and behold, Aquaman had a son today. So so
Nope.
so Black Manta goes to Aquaman's house. He sees his dad. He beats him up and then burns the house down, takes the son, and then he stabs him. And then he's like, I want you to be alive. So when Aquaman gets here, he can watch you die. So
No.
and I was like, okay, that's cool. Because in the first movie, Black Manta was forced to watch his father die because Aquaman refused to save him. Right, so cool. I'm okay with it. And then uh, Aquaman finds his father, and he's like, "No, God, no, please!" And he doesn't care about his son at this point. I guess Mara went to go. He's like,
Yeah, yeah.
"No, God, please, no!" And then like and then his mom comes up. He's like, "Don't worry, we have Atlantean science." And then they just heal him, and I'm like, "You should have died." What was the point of that? It felt like the movie was afraid to stop the train, like because they just want you to have fun, right? And it felt like the
Yeah.
movie's biggest problem was like it was afraid to go to those dark places, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and it didn't need to until the third act. Like once they introduced like, oh, like Black Manta uh killed Aquaman's dad. That could have been enough, you know. But they just kept going. It was like oh, Aquaman's about it's too late to save his son. Oh, actually he got there just in time. Mara's about to get her head stabbed. Actually, she's just fine. She has to go into coma or something like that. Uh and did the doctor even die? I don't even remember.
Nah, he lived, I think. The only person I remember who actually did die was Black Man himself.
Yeah. Which is like I get it's just funny that Black Manta does all this. He doesn't even accomplish anything he set out to do. You know. But like I said, I get like he just didn't impress me as a villain. I thought he was a good driving force, but again, he was sidelined, and I think that's a crime. You know,
Yeah,
but it did feel
yeah,
like to me, the actor didn't care as much this time. So
yeah. I think
yeah,
a lot. I think the same sentiment was with a lot of the actors in this film because imagine putting trying to put your A game in a film that is just going to be disregarded no matter what.
yeah. But
Hmm.
you know, so now that we're in the spoiler-free section, like you could start talking about like what are the things that you didn't like that was not making you interested.
Let's see. Let's see. Nothing too big. I guess just ocean politics, like seeing how little Aquaman really cared for being the king of his kingdom. Uh,
Mhm.
tend to be annoying, especially when you relate that to Norm's character, which, as you said, that's devastating for him to hear that this guy doesn't even want to be king.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I think. And you know what? Also, I also kind of think this movie needed like more characters because like Other than Aquaman, Ocean Master, and Black Manta, no one else really matters.
You know they wanted to include more Justice League cameos in this film, right?
They absolutely should have. I think at the ending when Aquaman gives his speech, I think they should have had the Justice League and like key parts in the scene, like because there's a so
Or
at the
did you want to follow up on the Flashpoint end credit scene and bring up, Flash?
yeah, why not? I think it is the
Why not? Why not?
it's the final DC. Well, first off, you got to remember I like the Flash. You did.
Okay.
But Aquaman's the final movie in the DCU. We're never gonna come back to these characters again. Why not just get like put the extra money, uh, get Gal Gadot, get Henry Cavill, get Ben Affleck and all that, and just have them in like because there's a scene where like Aquaman is giving a speech and you see all the nations of the world react. We'll just have a scene where Superman's in the background and he's just like watching the speech and like Batman's in Gotham or something and he's like looking at the TV or something like that. Wonder Woman's doing our peace conference. Like, show us where these characters were as this universe came to a close. You know, I think that would have been an appropriate way to end the film, in the universe. I think that's just me, though.
Yeah.
You know,
Gotcha.
Mm.
I mean, was there an appropriate way to end the Snyderverse?
You burn it, kill it again.
Cool.
What
do you think could have made this film better?
Wow. Actually, the dad should have just died. That would have made the film better.
Yeah, an emotional stake. We needed an Uncle Ben moment here.
Yeah. Black Manta definitely should have just killed the villain himself, like the final villain himself, and then he's like, "No, I'm the final boss." Like that should have been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I think Mara actually should have had more scenes, like, and just like nothing major, just like small scenes of her just kind of rallying the people, because Aquaman just kind of leaves the throne and he just goes on a vacation trip for a couple of days and no one knows where he is, like in the context of the film.
Yeah.
So I think more scenes with Mara, like interacting with the people and calming them down, and trying to get them more on the side of like, hey guys, we have to rally together and maybe show the surface world peace instead of hate. I think that would have been good as well. Just little small things like that. I don't think anything major needed to be changed, just added.
Gotcha. Now, next discussion. In an alternate universe, let's say this movie was going to get a third film, right?
Yeah.
What would you have liked to have seen in a third film?
One second.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean,
don't really know much about Aquaman, to be honest. I mean, they killed Black Manta.
I know echoes of Aquaman's storytelling from the comics. Like, I thought one interesting thing that a writer did, I think this was during the Rebirth era, right, was establish that, hey, I mean, there are dozens of planets all over in the universe, right? I mean, there are bound to be alien Atlanteans out there, so they come to Earth and try to invade it, make it their world,
Would have been pretty cool. I actually would be okay with that. Oh yeah, with that. Yeah, I do remember there was like portals between the different Atlantises.
Yep.
Yeah, that would have been kind of. I do remember saying I wanted something like that. So yeah, that would have been cool. Having like make up some villain. I don't know. We killed all the major ones that people know. I don't know. Yeah, I think that would have been great. I don't know what the villain would have looked like, but maybe have little baby Aquaman be Aqua Boy, like together,
Bring in at least one, the Aqua Lads,
Yeah, Aqualad could have been from that alien planet. There you go. He could have been like that. That would have been dope. But that time is over because the DCU is finished, and now you
official.
Yeah. I guess like I said, at the end of the day, Aquaman 2, it's a fun movie. It has its problems, but if you can get past that, you're good.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to rate this movie, on a good day, I would say it's a 7 out of 10. But then I have to realize I'm giving a lot of movies a 7 out of 10 in terms of comic book movies. and that just cannot be the standard. So I'll have to give this like a 6 out of 10. Fortunately.
Yeah, that's why I changed my rating system this,
Hmm.
this month, so I could like, because I realized that too. Like I'm having a lot of 7 out of 10s. I'm like, I don't think like this is like, I don't think my rating system is accurate anymore. So
Yeah.
I kind of changed it. So now that's why it's a
Hmm.
and enjoyable
It,
for.
it, yeah, it's like that scene from The Simpsons in one of the recent episodes, right, where Willie was getting married, and you find out that his in-laws just wanted him to help make better scotch, right? And their justification is we have to compete with so many other celebrity brands, from your wee Danny DeVitos to your big Clint Eastwoods. There's no room for a passable level scotch anymore, you know? So,
Um, okay, I guess we can start talking about like the. So what do you? I guess there's a bonus topic here for you. Here's for you guys who made it this long. Uh, what are you most excited for now in the new era, the James Gunn's new era of DC?
hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
well, okay. We would eventually we're going to have to see the James Gunn version of Aquaman. What will you
mm,
guys want to see?
yeah. Who do you want to see? Who's that actor? Because you do fan casting, right? Who's an actor you
Mhm.
think of Aquaman?
Cast
Chris,
the blonde guy. Cast the blonde guy.
you don't have any
So,
blonde guy. In?
why you want me to say Chris Evans? Is
I want you
that
to say
what you want?
Chris Hemsworth as Aquaman.
Chris Pine, he's not doing anything, right?
mean, I mean, I'm all for giving actors a chance, but on the surface, like Chris Pine has a very like dry delivery for Aquaman. I think
Hmm.
he's he's
No,
great.
I just want the twist in like the James Gunn DC universe to be that he's casting all the characters to look like what they should be from the comics, you know? Like,
Yeah. We get Superman the Jerry curl.
yeah. I mean, hey, we got Jimmy Olsen casted by a redhead. You know how
Uh,
rare it is?
uh,
You know?
you kind of spin for real. Okay, so like out of the main 7 Justice League members, who are you looking most forward to?
Mhm. It's so obvious, but I'll have to say Superman. If you can't get Superman right in in the first experience for the audience, this universe is doomed.
Yeah, that was Man of Steel's problem. It started off like mid. People are like kind of conflicted on it, and you don't want that for Superman. You know,
Yep.
um, I think yeah, Superman. Obviously, I don't really care about Batman and Robin. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, maybe it can impress me, but I just don't care.
Yeah, because
Uh,
you already have your version of the Batman
yeah,
getting a sequel. You
the
know.
Batman, the best
Yeah.
version. I don't care which one. Robert Pattinson is the best live action Batman. Um, I just want to
His
be quite.
his penguin still has a lot left that needs to be delivered for me to give an opinion on him. You know?
Um, I think so. So I just want to say like I don't care if this Batman can't like it can't beat aliens' asses like Ben Affleck or like he's not as skilled as Christian Bale. Listen, he's a human. Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
He's a human dressed
You
as a
see,
bat.
you see, what we need, what we will eventually need is that version of Robert Pattinson's Batman to go to do Batman off world that's currently going on by Jason Aaron. You know, like
He's gonna make that noir. He's gonna make a noir
yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah, he goes up into space and he like studies the aliens. Okay, so their anatomy is different from a human's. So I don't know what their pressure points are, but they have a mouth and a head, and that's all I need to know. I could work with that.
Yeah. I think so but I guess Wonder Woman, that's the surprising one for me.
Ooh,
Um I just think Wonder Woman, like I know Wonder Woman's the big three. She never lives up to that third pillar. She just kind of is.
mhm,
Uh, I think she needs more exposure. I think she needs more
mm,
cartoons. Definitely needs more movies. So I'm interested to see where Wonder Woman's going. You know,
yep.
the new era, I should say.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
other than that, I'm not really sure. Everything else caught up in the air. We're getting Peacemaker again in this universe,
Yay!
so
Yay!
you know,
You can
uh,
always stand to have more peace in your life, you know?
especially when it's solved by a bullet. Uh,
Accompanied by an eagle.
yeah, there you go.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's our Aquaman. Unless you have anything else you want to add, whether Aquaman or anything else.
Yeah, that's really it. I mean, frankly, I'm surprised we were able to lengthen this out to an hour, you know?
Technical difficulties gave us an extra 5 minutes. So.
There you go. There you go.
But
But anyway, audience, yeah.
yeah, have you seen Aquaman too? Let us know in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe. You know.
Hmm. And we'll see you all next year.
Wait,
Oh,
wait. We've learned. Cryptid, plug in the socials.
oh, right. Our socials. Well, okay, follow us on Twitter at ComicFanatic69, or you can also look us up on Instagram at ComicFanatic 2.0. And that's all the socials I got off the top of my head.
Okay.
So,
Oh, there you go. Which balls. Okay.
all right. With that, audience, see you next year.
See you next.
Bye.